Attractive teachers of Reddit. Did you know which students had a crush on you? Story 1. Young male middle school teacher here. I know quite a few of them who have a crush on me. There's a new fad where they tell each other secrets and say, "Oh, exposed." Since when did snitching become popular? Anyway, I always get told who has a crush on me. Quite often, some of the girls will drop by to leave their athletic bags, instruments, etc. in the classroom and they bring their friends in with them. When they leave, I always hear comments like, "I wish I had him as my teacher." My top 3 worst incidents. I had a girl come in at lunch. She told me, "Mister, I like you." Knowing full well what she meant, I tried to play it off and said as nonchalantly as I could, "I like you too. You're a great student." She was like, "No, I mean, I really like you." I couldn't believe the tenacity. Another student asked me to take a picture with her towards the end of the school year. I obliged, and on the last day she printed it out and gave it to me with her Instagram on the back, and a message about how cute I was. A girl found my Facebook and saved my profile picture as the background to her phone. I deleted my Facebook promptly afterward. If only I could get that kind of attention from girls my own age. Opinion. Some students also try to take pictures with the teachers they have a crush on in the frame without them noticing. Story 2. I was not attractive, but freshman girls still crushed on me when I taught at uni. As a grad student, I would have thought they were just flirting for grades, but they were always the nerdy hot type that already earned good grades. One called me doctor and I told her I didn't have a PhD. Called me professor and I told her I was just an instructor. She asked if she could call me a professor anyhow, and then she asked if I'd like to get a drink. Told her to ask again when the class was over if she was serious. She was. She called me professor. It was a really great score for a guy who looks like a catcher's mitt. Opinion. So, in university are student-teacher relationships frowned upon even though both are adults? Story 3. I'm probably too late on this, but a year 10 boy got suspended for taking and sending Snapchat photos of my behind whenever I was helping a student in front of them. It was another boy who showed me and said he wasn't happy with me being disrespected, which was nice. Opinion. Somebody who was raised well. The student who showed you, that is. Story 4. Not really attractive at all and didn't notice a thing till I asked. In a college lab, "Are there any questions?" And this one guy, an older student about my age, raised his hand and said in front of the whole class, "Yeah, will you go out with me?" So that was kind of a clue. Opinion. I just wish I could read the rest of the story. I hate when they don't tell what happened after. Story 5. My sister, who is a teacher, has turned down dozens of proposals from 6-year-olds. Opinion. Yes, a real eye-opener was realizing how even very young kids can get overly attached. Story 6. Among several personal questions was, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And once a student called me honey. It's especially uncomfortable because they're just 8th graders. Edit. I feel the need to defend my students given the general nature of anecdotes shared here. None of my kids are bad or overly forward. Just some have a little crush or curiosity. This subject and method by which I teach is more personal and social than typical, so there's bound to be a student who has a little admiration for the teacher. They're good kids. Opinion. I'm not a big fan of being called honey, unless the person is in their 60s. Anyone who calls me honey or buddy automatically comes across as condescending, whether it's intentional or not. Story 7. Finally, an Ask Reddit question I can answer. I'm not much to look at now, but in the mid-90s, I was a much more handsome fellow. I was working at a Catholic high school at the height of my best hairstyle and my size 28 waist. Those are both gone now. The first day I started, a group of giggling teenage girls were huddled, whispering and looking at me. One of them worked up the guts to come over to me and say, "Hello, sir. One question, please. Just. She was blushing. Are you married? So yeah, a bunch of 16-year-old girls were hoping I was single. What they thought they would do if I was, I'm not sure, but they were crushing. One day I was walking down a long hallway at the school and was vaguely aware of a group of girls behind me whispering. I didn't realize they were focused on me until I heard one say, "Look at his behind." I stopped without turning around, and they burst into loud, embarrassed laughter, and then scattered like cockroaches when the light turns on. Now, in 2017, I look like the poster from About Schmidt, but I had my day once upon a time. Opinion. I really like your attitude. Story 8. I am a student teacher and was asked if I was an 8th grader by a student in the first week teaching. This doesn't make me attractive, but it does make me seem more age appropriate for my middle schoolers. I work with kids with special needs, and I knew that one of the boys, nonverbal, had hit puberty when he came over to me, gently kissed my forearm, and then made his happy noise, which led to a new rule that we don't kiss teachers. He was kinda cute though. He's not one for affection in general. Opinion. I just wanted to personally thank you for working in special education. It's such a necessary field and very few people are willing to take on that important role. Story 9. I wouldn't say I'm particularly attractive, but as a teaching assistant in college, a lot of students sometimes act a bit flirty, hoping for favorable grades. Some try a little harder than others. Then, during office hours right before finals, some students come in with outfits that seem a bit much for a study session, like tiny shorts and push-up bras, as if that's going to help them out. Once, I subbed for my buddy's high school class, and one of the students sat in the front row, giving me some very intense looks the entire hour. It was definitely a little uncomfortable. The most inappropriate thing I overheard was about my military experience, just spreading rumors that weren't true. Opinion. Girls at my high school wouldn't wear bras during exam week. Story 10. Former English teacher here. When I was student teaching, I carpooled with another guy, a Spanish student teacher. We both went on to graduate and taught for a while before both leaving the profession for different reasons. But I remember kids talking about him. Don't get me wrong, he was a good-looking guy, but when we co-taught a class, we introduced ourselves to the 7th grade English class. It was my class first, and Spanish was next period. It quickly got out of hand. I am Mr. Bookworm 5000. This is Mr. Spanish Teacher. We are from the local college of college stuff, and we'll be here for the next few months as your student teachers. The cooperating teacher was just watching from the back. I like video games, books, movies, and cooking. My buddy said some stuff about himself. Do you guys have any questions for us? All the boys raised their hands to ask what my favorite video game was. All the girls raised their hands to ask him, does he have a girlfriend? How many push-ups can he do? How do you grow your beard to look so nice? At this point, the cooperating teacher stepped in. Spanish boy and I had a beer after school and laughed a lot. Opinion. The girls wanted to grow beards is what I'm getting from this. Story 11. I am not bad, and I'm frequently the youngest female teacher my students have ever had. I teach middle school, so that's 13 to 15 or 16-year-olds. It's funny. The boys who have a crush are super obvious about it, but they just act embarrassed and think they are hiding it well. LOL. Nope. The most inappropriate comments I've gotten to my face are, come to a love hotel with me. In Japan, a love hotel is a place where you pay by the hour. What's your favorite way to have fun in bed? And just a straightforward sleep with me. All of those several times, both in English and Japanese. Shut those down real quick. Overheard comments. Mostly they just talk about my chest. LOL. Opinion. I didn't expect something this straightforward from a Japanese person, especially from a teenager. Story 12. I was a student with a very attractive teacher. She was maybe 25 or so when I was a freshman. And all of the guys talked about her constantly. She always kept the door to her classroom locked during lunch. And one day, me and two other kids were waiting outside for her to unlock the door. I was waiting there because I was lame, but the other two kids were friends who were talking about her. Okay, so this conversation took place like 10 years ago. But here's about how it went. God, that teacher is so effing hot. I know, right? No, seriously. I know, man. No, but seriously, if she was here right now, I would bend her over and. He then proceeded to mind spanking her by literally spanking the door while we stood up there. I guess, like any kid who doesn't understand this kind of thing might be prone to do. I was maybe 3 feet away and not really sure whether to smile and play along or be horrified. And as he spanks the door a fourth or fifth time, the teacher actually opens the door from the inside. She looked at all three of us and said, "You boys need to learn not to talk so loud." And then we just went in and sat down. All in all, not a bad outcome actually, but I still wonder what was really going through her mind. Opinion. They'll learn, eventually, hopefully. Story 13. Finally something I can answer. I teach junior and senior high school. As a substitute teacher, I graduated a year ago, so haven't landed a full-time position yet. I've had multiple grade 10 students write inappropriate comments on my formal evaluations, given out during the last day of my final student teaching practicum. These included, "I want to sleep with Miss Teacup Grad. Miss Teacup Grad is hot or cute," and "I want to sleep with you," all caps for extra emphasis. During my first student teaching practicum, I had a grade 9 student, who was a good foot taller than me, block me from leaving the doorway when he repeatedly asked for a hug. I had another grade 9 student slap my behind. I was so surprised I honestly didn't know how to handle it. Teaching is fun. Opinion. I really admire anyone who goes into such a rough and undervalued profession. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell button to receive notifications to my latest videos.